Hey, good afternoon. My name is Dan Reeses, and it is 12:31 p.m. 1231. So, numbers are important to me, but that doesn't mean they're important to everybody else. And the reason for this immediate news flash is I would like to offer an olive branch. I would like to end the conflict with my wife. I would like to come to an agreement because I realized that one thing I had to say is I had to pick up my clothing because the next court date is not until January, and there's you know, it's a complicated mess that I'll get into shortly. But this is a show about applied mathematics, business, and growth as a human being, and none of that works unless I resolve this issue with my wife. And this is me trying to resolve it. I'll explain. We had court on Monday and Tuesday. At first, it started out amicable. And then it just became a screaming match. And it ended on Tuesday, like about an hour early. And I'm going to save some of the details. And that's the whole point. Like, the judge lost it. But essentially, I realized that I didn't marry any of these people. I didn't marry a single person. I married Mal. She looked very beautiful, as always. She's a very beautiful woman. I realized that in order to really take it to the next level, you have to grow as a human being. So in case anyone's wondering why I choose YouTube as my platform, is for this reason. That when the second you realize you have a winning position, which is, hey man, don't post shit about your wife online anymore, and remove the shit if we can come to an amicable resolution, and that would go a really long way. And to me, I just wanted to say to everyone at home, this channel was never designed to display the negative content that you see about the issues in my home. But after 5 unlawful arrests, 24 days in a county jail, and having all of your life taken from you, I apologize for utilizing something called the U.S. Constitution and my freedom of speech, as well as countless whistleblower acts that are designed to protect people like myself who have a platform like this. And the sad reality is that no matter what was done in the past, as long as the kids are safe and everything is copacetic, the rest can be solved with time. Time heals all wounds. And I personally just want to tell my boys that I hope everyone has learned a big lesson. I miss you very much. Just because there's some things missing from the closet, Dad has gone absolutely nowhere. You know where I am. And I will be there in 2 seconds if there's an issue or anything like that, and I'll be back in the house in a couple of weeks. And whether my wife and I need to share the home with a nesting agreement, or if she doesn't want the home anymore, we can come to a resolution. If she wants the home and be the primary caretaker during X amount of days, anything is on the table. But what's not on the table is the continuation of a retaliatory form of adverse legal actions. That's not on the table anymore. There is a really bad attorney at the heart of this named Matthew Smoro. He might be a good person as a friend to Mallory, or maybe they have something else going on, but they're definitely like-minded. And I say, bravo. I do want her to be happy. Was I a jealous man? Yes. It's impossible for someone like myself, who has an ego bigger than you could fit into any size house, and a head that doesn't even go through my doorway, which is one of the biggest you'll see in a residential home. But when you're as insecure as me and you're married to such a beautiful woman, who wouldn't be jealous of any flirtation, let alone how the marriage spiraled out of control and what is the meaning of an emotional affair? So it really starts with me, not her, and I'll explain. I'm going to take full responsibility for actually getting my ass whooped. Because I don't condone violence, and I think that she definitely has to pay the ramifications, but I take responsibility for angering her, not for getting hit. That shit is not okay. On any level. Boys, girls, whoever the fuck is watching this, it is never okay, no matter how angry you are at me. And always remember, a lot of that anger stems from because she loves me. And I love her. And I actually will go in front of the camera and the world and say that I really fell in love with my wife when I met Pierce. On the football field on that day. Benny from my group. And she knows it. And this really hurts. And it really hurts. And this is why I'm stronger than all you cocksuckers. Because none of you even have one nutsack, let alone an entire body full of will. Because none of you have the balls to stand up here and say, had I not flaunted how amazing of a relationship I have with Jamie and Mal in front of the world, I would still be married without a single issue. My responsibility as a man and a friend, I failed at. To the standard that my wife had. Granted, it's an unrealistic standard because I never cheated on her, yet at the same time I was constantly accused of it. So that spiraled things, and there was a very toxic cycle. But when you get down to it and you want to get me face to face, I will calmly say, sweetheart, no one can beat me, not even myself. You see, at this point, there's no enemies. They're all internal. Once I'm able to resolve the conflict with my wife, I'm absolutely unbeatable in court. I will completely destroy each and every single one of you. And I hope that everyone is fucking ready, because unfortunately for everyone, I no longer have an anchor of negativity. And my goal is to resolve the conflict. So I know what I did wrong. So let me reiterate, Drake, Pierce, everyone else. Had I not flaunted just how awesome I am with what was perceived as two wives, let alone what happened behind closed doors, I believed that I would be able to rationalize Mallory's behavior better. But because I know what I did wrong, I have to go on YouTube and say, hey, look in the fucking mirror, damn. What'd you do? Well, I will tell you what I did. What I did was I bragged to the world just how incredible I am. And I did it to a point where I hurt my wife, and I never realized just how much I hurt her until I saw her speaking in the court matter. She testified. And it wasn't the indirect questions. I mean, some things she said the truth, some things she didn't. It's irrelevant. I know how she speaks with one twitch of her, the way she touches her hair, where her hands are, and she was very careful. I got to give her credit. She kept her hands down as much as she humanly could and made as little motions as possible. But unfortunately, it was all too many. But I say this, like, both of us need to take responsibility for our actions. I know what I did wrong. I didn't break any laws. I didn't do anything like that. I don't believe that she actually loved me. I believe that she was infatuated with me and still might be, like one of those, like I love him, but, there's always a but. And the nuts and bolts of the conflict can wait. I believe that if I can show the world, for anyone who actually believes the bullshit numbers you see down below, cool. For anyone who can use their brain cells and realize that one of the videos will make it to the front page of the post, let alone the actual fucking story that's going on here. And it takes a lot of work, by the way, to keep everyone nice and calm and quiet and pretend like this isn't like the coolest fight of all time. Let's be honest, you have two good-looking white Jewish people socking it out like they're on Jerry Springer on YouTube. When does that happen? Never. And the reason why I say this is that I'm willing to do a lot of things. So for example, if I can have a settlement that is amicable and we can both move on with our lives, I can make a lot of money. Of that money, a big chunk of it can go to Mallory. Meaning that I can easily put into the settlement that once I make my money, I will write you a check. And that only can work if she does it now. Right now. And she can immediately receive massive benefits without actually having to work a day in her life if she's able to just zip it about the things that she knows, especially about the meeting. And I don't know, maybe let me be a father, just basic stuff. And, stop hiding behind people that are giving you really horrible advice. You don't want to talk to me, you don't have to talk to me. I'm not a psychopath. But if we need to communicate about something and you don't find a way to communicate, use a text message, send an email. No reason to ever raise voices. No reason to ever fight. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. The love is gone. It's a very difficult thing to accept, I assure you. But once the love is gone, the fighting makes zero sense. You're fighting a human being who you had humans with. That's it. The only people that benefit from these fights, I assure you, sweetheart, is the audience, as well as the attorneys that you choose to flush money down the toilet for. I, unlike you, invented a sentient algorithm that can break any law firm's legal budget or any preordained budget that is required for any form of litigation. That is the business. That is not a threat. You are one human being. The product is designed for millions of humans. I just proved it. I know that it works. But in order for me to launch it, I need to be able to say, I'm out of the conflict, this is what is going on, we were able to find an amicable resolution, and yes, I will never forget what you put me through over the last 4 months, exactly 4 months. But I also know that I can forgive, but I can't forget. And the reason why I say this is because there's a big part of you that knows exactly who Dan is and knows that, okay, if he says that, that means that I'm on thin ice. And that's not a threat, it's just, I'll put it like this. I want the boys to love and respect their mother for the rest of their lives. Not just when they're children and can only see one part of the facet and the brilliance that is their mother. I hope you understand exactly what I'm saying. And I hope that everyone in the audience can understand that this magic trick works in reverse as well as forwards. What that means is that you are inside of the actual entertainment product. Today, I reach out to the only person I choose to have a resolution with. That person will always be very important to me. And it's really, 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 really sad that, look, the bottom line is Jamie's my best friend. Mal's the mother of my kids. It's very hard to find balance in life. I thought I found balance in life. I was wrong. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I did everything right. But time is the only thing that, like I keep saying, none of us control time going forwards. There are human beings that in the next couple of years will have some technology to do a few things. But this is the channel's core identity, is that I do the things that no one expects me to do, and I do the things that are absolutely impossible for all of you to do. And I do it on behalf of 300 million Americans. And if every man had the nutsack to stand up and say, you know what, whether or not I'm right or wrong, this is what I did wrong. Social media that you don't like, and I was more than willing to get divorced over the fact that I'm being judged on social media and disrespected for all the work that I've done for a quarter of a century. Like I was not happy with that either. But instead of an amicable separation, it was just an endless cycle of abuse, and I didn't partake in the abuse cycle, but by not stopping it and recording it, I was wrong. I should have stepped up immediately if I was that upset, which I was, but like I said, I really love Mallory, and I always will in my own way. But I'm just not in love with her anymore. And it took a really long time for me to really accept that. And this is my channel. Everyone is welcome to start their own channel. Obviously, you're all a bunch of copycat motherfuckers if you even come close to trying to replicate what I've done over here. But see, this is the upside down, where you will never be able to appreciate the positive of Dan Reese's. The polarization and the brilliance of what I show you is that you hate and love me at the same time while recognizing that you're looking in the mirror. The things that I say, I only say to the exact people that know what they're listening to. Everybody else is not watching and actively working as hard as they can to avoid what is actually happening in reality. This is the only show in the world that is able to take the audience into the actual show. There's no one that has ever come close to doing the kind of work that I've done, let alone the past work that I've done in the real life on behalf of the federal government, as well as thousands of human beings who have personally saved the life of, and 300 million Americans who were going on number 19. Why is this such an important and monumental event? This is the first time in my life that I'm able to completely release control. Only Mallory will understand what that means. Mallory is a very important person in this narrative. Everyone that is following understands that. So the whole key to this entire thing revolves around one human being's choice. Option 1 or option 2. And she knows what they are. And it is very exciting for me to see if I'm able to pre-calculate the moves of my opponents, or will they only go the opposite way just in spite of giving me the credit of being able to be the first person to lay down. And for that, I have a song. It's called Armor. Drake gave it to me. It's a little emotional. But in general, once I received enough intel, which I received on Monday and Tuesday, I'm going to win. I don't want to win. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I want to lose. I want to settle. I want to move on. I want to grow up. I don't want to be 15 for the rest of my... maybe. But in general, there is a way for me to be an example for 300 million human beings. Forget about men. Men are weaker than women. They produce a lot less. They're a waste of time most of the time because they're egomaniacal, and their sexuality is always at the forefront of whatever decisions they make, whereas women are able to sometimes bypass that and make logical decisions on a grander scale. And that's where I make the joke that I identify with being a lesbian, is because I love women. I'm not really interested in dudes. Not to say that I won't be gay later. I might. I just want everyone to know that. And the reason why I say that is because humans that are very close-minded stake a flag in the ground as if time will not pass, and their sexuality may or may not advance. And I say advance is because I have never been gay, but at the same time, I recognize that a human being's inability to recognize that they have no choice of their sexuality is at the forefront of a lot of conflicts. There are endless amounts of domestic violence stories where human beings are not able to accept their sexuality and they take it out on their partner. It is they that are the problem. In my relationship, I was the problem, because I could have easily made the choice and left. But I chose to stay. My motivation has always been me. At the end of the day, my love for my boys is nothing more than a badge of honor that I wear, which is very different than a lot of other men. I understand that I am at the root of my issues. I do not accept being physically assaulted or any of that stuff, but I am willing to put a lot of things aside in order to create a harmonious environment both for my children as well as for myself and my ex-wife. it is extremely important that people understand that this is courage, right here. This is what courage is. Not having lawyers send out letters. That's one of the reasons why I send my own legal letters. You have a problem with me? Step to me. I highly recommend you don't, because every second I spend in court I learn more and more, and I am faster and better than the most advanced sentient algorithms in the world, so I don't recommend that. But if you want to go down the Kim Kardashian route and watch divorce shows to get gassed up, and not realize that this woman is so skewed in her perspective that she's not able to pass the bar exam on multiple tries, but she has the ability to produce entertainment, so the humans that follow her trials and tribulations of becoming a lawyer don't really understand that's a precursor to a commercial of a show that she was planning. So I recognize that maybe you do not understand what's going on, but as a human being who studies just a little bit entertainment, mathematics, applied mathematics, game theory, and entrepreneurship, media, marketing, crazy things like that, I look at certain projects in a very different way, and being able to do that makes me a very difficult adversary. And I don't recommend anyone going against me in court, because I will completely destroy you the second that I can resolve my issues with my wife. And that is one of many motivating factors behind me saying, hey, I'll take the L. I will gladly take the videos down. I do not enjoy having them up. The numbers are not what they are. They're considerably more than that. They're disseminated and they're all over. But I can make it disappear like magic. But I would need to have the audience participate. So that means if you're watching this and you believe in love will triumph overall, reach out to the parties, but only if you're going to be positive, to amicably resolve. I assure you, I will answer to any judge in the world about this video, because if everyone had the ability to stand up and publicly denounce themselves in order to resolve the conflict, we wouldn't have courts. Lawyers would be broke. They would have to fucking pick up a tool and actually do their job. God forbid. Show me strength of character, and I will show you the real Dan.